Welcome to 17.2, volume of a cylinder. So we're going to do a bunch of three-dimensional shapes and find the amount of square or cubic units that can fit inside them. And it turns out it's all based on the area of a circle. So we're going to remind you how to find the area of a circle. Please do so. So the area equals pi times the radius squared. It's approximately 3.14. The radius, the distance from the middle to the edge here, the radius is 7, and we're going to square that. And so the 14 all the way across is called the diameter, right? And this is a chord over here, which you don't need. So 7 squared is 49. 3.14 times 49. 9 times 4, 36, and then 12, and then 28. Step over, and 16, and 5, and 12, 13. Is that right? I want to make sure that's right. 4 times 4 is 16. I don't think so. 4 times 4 is 16, carry the 1. 4 is 5. 4, this is only 12, right? There's no carry there. That was the carry from before. So 6, 8, 13, and so move the decimal twice, and so it's approximately 153.86 square inches, right? That's how you say that's the number of little squares that were 1 by 1, 1 inch by 1 inch that would fit in there, 100 and around 154 of them. All right, the shape to the right is called a cylinder. And to draw a cylinder, it's really an oval, and the secret to making a good cylinder is this you're going to go straight down, and this bottom oval has to be as the same as the top oval as you can. The more those two are the same, the more your oval will look good, and I'm not good at this, and so you can make it dotted if you want, and it will look like a three-dimensional cylinder. So the cylinder has two bases, two circles, top and bottom, and sides that are straight. Right? A lot of cans are approximately a cylinder. So we're going to start by finding the area of the base. Well, the base is a circle, so to find the area of the base, it's pi r squared. And so we're going to approximate it using 3.14 times the radius here. The radius is 4. So 4 squared, so 3.14 times 16. 4 times 6 is 24, and 3 times 6 is 18. Step over. And we move it twice, and we get approximately 50.24 square inches, right? Those little 2 marks there mean inches, and so these are square inches for the area of the base. Now it turns out all the other circular objects that we're going to be finding in this unit are based, their volume is based on pi r squared. And we're going to see the first of those today. You might want to remember that, 50.24. So the volume of a cylinder is pi r squared times h, times the height. So to find out how many little cubes are going to fit in there, the volume, you take V equals pi r squared h. So it's approximately, this is the same cylinder as the last screen, 3.14. The radius of the base is 4 squared. And now we have to multiply it by the distance between the two bases, 13. Right? So we already did 3.14 times 16. I believe it was 50.24 on the last screen. So now we all have to do is take that and multiply it by the height, the 13. 3 times 4 is 12, and then 7, and 0, and 15, and step over, and 4, and 2, and 0, and 5. And I'm getting, move the decimal twice. Now this is 653.12, not square inches. That was square inches right there. We're multiplying it by another inch, and this is cubic inches, and that's how you say it. You don't say it any other way. All right, this is cubic inches. It's how many little cubes will fit in that cylinder, approximately 654 of them that are 1 by 1 by 1. Pi r squared h, volume of a cylinder. All right, so this cylinder is on the side, but it's the same thing. And the notes are just telling you that it's cubic inches there. Pi doesn't have units, but a radius does and a height does. So the volume of this would be pi r squared h, which is approximately 3.14. The radius this time is 5, and we're squaring that times 12. So 3.14 times 25 times 12. Now you can multiply those in any order you want. So let's do 3.14 times 25. 4 times 5 is 20. 7, 15. And you're going to get a 6, 2, and 8 here. And we move the decimal twice, and we get 78.5, right? So then we're going to do 78.5 times 12. Notice not lining up my decimal points. 2 times 5 is 10. 16 plus 1 is 17. 14 plus 1 is 15. Step over. We get a 7, 8, and 5. We add up the two rows. 14. Move the decimal once this time, and we're getting approximately 942, it's still approximate, cubic inches in that cylinder. All right, so now there's several tricky things about this problem. Try to figure it out. Well, the volume is pi r squared h of the whole tank. Right, but we want half the tank. So we're going to use 3.14. We're going to use, now, what's the radius? 24. And by the way, one of these means feet. The radius is not 24. That's the diameter right there, all the way across. The radius is 12. So we have to square 12. Now, we can do this one of two ways. We can cut 20 and divide it by 2, or let's just write it out the long way. But you'll do essentially the same thing. The volume of half of it will be 1/2 times 3.14 times 12 squared times 20. Now, again, this is multiplication, so you can do it in any order you want. You can cancel this 2 with the 20 and make that 10, right? You could have just done that in your head. It's half full, so the height is half of what it should be. So we have 3.14. 12 squared is 144, right? 4 times 4 is 16, then a 5, then a 12. Step over. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 1 is 5, and 12. Step over twice for that third row. And we got 9, 10, 12. 5 and 4, move the decimal twice. Now we have to do 452.16 times 10. Well, we already know a shortcut for multiplying by 10. It's called move the decimal once back, right? So this is going to be approximately 4,521.6 cubic feet. And by the way, you can't take the little slash and do that. That's not a thing, all right? It's 452.1 cubic feet, and that's the only way to say that. Pi r squared h, for half, it's times a half. If it's a third full, it's times 1/3. So we're estimating these volumes. So if we're estimating them, you could use other values of pi that are close to it. So in this case, we're going to use 3 for pi instead of 3.14. Let's see what happens. So the volume is pi r squared h, which is approximately, we're going to use 3 because these answers are not close to each other. 3 times the radius squared, 7 squared, times the height, 20. Well, we have 3, 7 squared is 49 times 20. Well, I could go there and do 49 times 3, but we know that's around 150, right? And 150 times 2 is 300. So 150 times 20 is around 3,000. Now, if you get out a calculator and do all the work with 3.14, you'll get a number slightly higher than 3,000. This is cubic meters, M for meters. But you don't need to. So please read your homework. Sometimes it actually says use 3 for pi. I'm trying to make your life easier. I'm not wanting you to go get a calculator. Another thing you may never have seen before is that you can leave pi in your answer. And in fact, in high school, you'll do this quite a bit. But it's actually the only way to get the exact answer for any of these. So let's see that. It's the same exact one. So it's pi r squared h. We're going to leave pi. Since we're leaving pi, we can leave the equal sign. It's still 7 squared. It's still 20. So 7 squared is 49. And then we have to do 49 times 20. Well, you get a row of zeros, and then you get a 98. So you get 980. So you get V equals pi times 980. Now, pi is a letter, right? We know that coefficients, the number, always goes in front of the letter. And so we're going to write this as 980 pi. And B is the exact volume of that cylinder. It's 980 times a little more than 3. Okay, and that little more than 3 is called pi. That's the exact answer. All right, so there's a cube, and it's got a cylindrical hole in it. Find the volume of just the hole. Notice it says use 3 for pi. I'm trying to make your life easy. So it's 3 times the radius. Ooh, the radius here is also 3. And the height of the hole seems to be, if the hole is all the way through the cube, the height has to be the same as the cube's, 10. So we have 3 times 9 is 27, and 27 times 10, it's approximately 270 cubic inches. Find the volume of the rest of the cube. So we want you to find the volume of a cube, then take away the volume of the hole. All right, so a cube, how do you find the volume of a cube? Well, the volume of a cube is length times width times height. So that's 10 times 10 times 10, or that's exactly 1,000 cubic inches, right? So this is 1,000 cubic inches exactly, minus approximately 270 cubic inches. And since that part is approximate, the whole answer will be approximate. And so we're going to subtract, we're going to do a little borrowing here. And we're going to get approximately 730 cubic inches of volume in the part that's not the hole. You take the hole away. If there was 2 holes, you would take 2 holes away. So we'll practice. Notice it says leave pi in your answer. So we're going to find the exact volume of this. It's pi r squared h. So we're leaving pi. The radius is 8, and we got to square that. And the height, we can just add up those heights of those things, and it's 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, which is 5. Did I say 5 times? So pi times 64 times 5. Now, a little trick, 64 times 10 is 640. The 5 times table is always half of that. So can you do that in your head? What's half of 620? Yeah, it's 310. You can do it the other way, but it'll come out 310. Oh, 640. Oh, my goodness. All right, 640, 320. Good thing I checked it. So, right, this was 640. You make an error there, you're going to make an error in the next step. So it's 320. So it's exactly, we don't write pi times 320. We write 320 pi. And that's the exact volume. You still should write cubic inches. All right, closest. Are these answers close to each other? No. So let's use 3 for pi. Now, 12 centimeters is all the way across, not the radius. Right, the radius is 6 centimeters. You can multiply these any way you want, right? So 3 times 2 is 6, so it's 36 times 6, which is 216, and this is cubic centimeters. That's how you say that. Yes, it's not the way you read it on the paper. And oh, none of those is here, but C is the closest one because we used 3 instead of 3.14, so we're too low. Right? It's 1/3 full, so it's, the volume is going to be 1/3 pi r squared h. And we're going to use 3 for pi. Well, look at that. It nicely cancels like that. And the radius is 11. We're squaring that. And the height is 60. We could have also canceled the 3 with the 60 as well and just used 20, right? Either way. So 11 squared is 121 times 60. And 6, 1, and then 12. I'm getting 7,260 cubic feet, right?